We're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the race briefing for the On the Edge and the Compton Verney Sprint Triathlon on Sunday. Just wait for a few people to pop up. Here we go. We've got some people arriving now, so I can see who's watching, not see who's watching, see how many people are watching. So if you can hear us, just if you're on YouTube, just put a little comment on YouTube and it'll pop up on the screen our end, and we'll be able to see you're there and that you can hear us. And if you've got any questions, of course, then feel free to tap those on the screen and we will go through those towards the end. So I'm hoping you can hear us because no one said anything yet. But anyway, so I'm Dave Knight. I'm the one of the two race directors. We're sharing it,
Have I been promoted
You
this
have
year?
been promoted. We're going to be looking after you on Sunday. So this is...
I'm Corinne. I'm also apparently race director this year. Usually race manager. I'm one step down from Dave, really. But yeah, both of us put this on together with the help of lots of volunteers. So
lots of volunteers.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, so I can see, thank you, Phil. I can see that you've commented to say you can hear us, so we're all good. It's always a panic doing this for half an hour and then realise no one can hear you, so that's all good. So the agenda for this is to effectively go through the athlete guide. We're going to run through it and then we're going to expand on it and probably cover some other bits and bobs that come up along the way. And like I said, if you've got any questions that are... or anything that occurs to you about the race, if you type it in the comments, as a few of you are now, I can see your comments coming through, then we will cover those towards the end. So, should we start? Mm-hmm. Right. So, first of all, basics. It's Sunday, and it's at Compton Verney Park Farm, not Compton Verney Art Gallery. We had a few people turn up at the art gallery last time. So, we're at Compton Verney Park Farm. So, hopefully you will know where that is. So let's start by taking a look at the event schedule. Now, Saturday we have registration. It's a slightly different time to last year. We've shortened it a little bit because we didn't need as much time. So this time we are having 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. on Saturday to register. Now, you can register. Try and bring some kind of form of ID, and if you're a British Triathlon member or any other kind of home nation member, then bring your ID so we can check your number. What else was there? Oh, and you can't register. Sorry, you can't rack your bikes. You can't rack your bikes on the Saturday. So all the bike racking is on the Sunday morning. We've been asked a few times about whether you can register for other people. You can, but what we ask you to do is to bring your ID and bring a letter from them saying that they've allowed you to do that. They've authorised you to do that. We may be asking you some questions. There may be some bits and bobs that have been missing off the forms. Excuse me, got something popped up on the screen. Not sure if you can see that. We had some errors on the form, so we may be asking you for your BTF number and your date of birth and things like that, because there were some bits and bobs that were missing off the forms and some of you didn't complete the form, so we can hoover those up at registration as well. Anything else about the Saturday?
No, in terms of parking for registration, the parking will be in the same place as race day parking. So at the top of the hill off is it Spring Lane?
Yep.
It's called Spring Lane, down towards Conbrook. And you walk down the hill, you'll see our big marquee, which is a new addition this year. We're not up by the buildings at the business park. We're in a big marquee down by the lake, so you should find us nice and easily. We'll have a little bit of bike racking there if you're arriving by bike, so you can hang your bike there. But as Dave said, no racking for the race on Saturday.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, and also there's no overnight parking on site. So if you are hoping to camp, hopefully you should have seen that the camping, there is camping available at Park Farm Farm, but there's no camping on site for athletes.
And the details of Park Farm are in the athlete guide, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it for Saturday. Pretty straightforward. Just a couple of hours there for the people that want to register early. If you can register early, come and do it on Saturday morning, because it'll make Sunday morning a little bit less stressful for everybody. If you
Saturday
do that.
evening.
Saturday. What did I say? Saturday morning. Saturday evening. Okay, and on to Sunday, the race day itself. So the car park up the top of the hill that Corinne's mentioned opens at 4:30. Registration opens at 5.
Yep.
Yeah. we made some adjustments to that. So it opens at 5, and it effectively stays open until the start of the sprint. No, it doesn't. It stays open until half past 7.
Yeah. Half
past 7. So 5 o'clock till 7:30 registration, and transition is opening at, it says 4:30 on the guide. I think we're probably going to be
no, I
more
think
like 5 o'clock, isn't it?
Transition is going to be open from 5 as well.
Yeah. So they're your registration times. Obviously, as soon as you've registered, you'll be able to rack your bike and put your bike into transition. That'll all be set up ready for you. Just while I think about it, actually, if you come on the Saturday, hopefully the bulk of transition will be set up, so you'll have an opportunity to have a good old look around if you do come on the Saturday. So it might prepare you a little bit more for race day if you do that. Anything else about that?
In terms of transition, when you go into transition, you will have at registration will write your number on your hand. When you go into transition, you'll need to show your number on your hand, your number on your bike, and your number on your helmet. And your helmet needs to be on your head and fastened securely. So please make sure your helmet is well fitting. If you put it on, do it up. It shouldn't fall off if you put your head forward, and shouldn't move if you shake your head. Otherwise, you need to adjust the straps, and that will be checked when you go into transition to rack your bike.
Yeah.
In terms of bike racking, the racking will be numbered, so you need to find your number. There'll be marshals there to help you. There's also big numbers at the end of the racking, so it'll show you which side to rack your bike. You rack your bike with your the handlebars facing towards you as you look at the number on the rack, and then your kit goes down on the non-drive side of the bike. So
that's the side with the chain on it.
Yeah, the side with the chain on. Don't put your kit the side with the chain. They go on the other side. Okay. So if you've got any questions about how to set up, where to put your stuff and how to rack your bike, then do ask the marshals, because there should be plenty of them there to help you.
There'll be some staff there. There'll be some staff there to keep an eye on you. What we haven't actually mentioned is when you do register, you'll be given your race pack. The race pack will include your hat, so you'll have a specific coloured hat. So you should be getting a pink hat for the sprint and a yellow hat for the middle distance race, so we can tell who's who. You'll also be given your race numbers for you sticking on your helmet, and your race number itself for you to put on a race belt. Now, if you haven't got a race belt, hopefully most of you will know what a race belt is, but effectively it's a piece of elastic goes around your waist, and you pin the race number to the race belt, and that's how you wear it during the race. If you haven't got that, you can actually pin it directly onto your whatever it is that you're racing on. So you'll get your race number and your stickers to put on your helmet and onto your bike. So that's the point. You'll be issued your race number, and then, like Corinne says, you'll be able to go into transition and find your appropriate spot within transition.
You have to rack your own bike. You can't have somebody else do it for you. Nobody is allowed to go into transition other than people who are racing. It's a security measure, so make sure that you can't ask a family member to go and get your bike after the race. You have to do it yourself.
Did you mention about the safety checks?
Helmet checks, yeah.
Yeah, we'll also be checking the bikes as well. So when you enter transition, or as you're going into transition, there will be staff there checking your bikes. It's obviously important that we make sure that everyone's bike is roadworthy. So they'll be checking to make sure the brakes are working and that the bike is in overall decent condition. All right, so please make sure that your bike is in roadworthy state, because if it's not, then you may be pulled to one side and asked if you can do some rapid fixing of your bike. And it's things like making sure that the brakes are working both front and back, and that there's no kind of sharp edges in terms of you should have bar end caps on your handlebars, and just making sure that actually effectively the whole of the bike is in good working order. So please make sure that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's usually remembering to do your brakes up as you take the bike out of the car. If you've taken the wheels off, that's the thing that people forget.
Yeah, so it's good to arrive in good time, because bikes do get knocked and bits and bobs happen in transport. So arrive in good time, so you're not running around getting stressed. So that's registration and transition. Transition, opening and putting your bike in.
one last thing on transition. In terms of bag drops, there's no bag drop. Please try and bring as little as possible into transition. Please don't have big bags and boxes in there. Remember that you need to allow space for everybody, so don't take up more than your fair share. If you really haven't got anywhere that you can put a bag, you can leave them in our Race HQ marquee in the corner. There isn't any security on there, so that's entirely at your own risk. But please try and bring minimal equipment and kit into transition.
Yeah, I'm just going to pop this onto the other screen actually. Then you can see what we're looking at rather than looking at our massive faces on the screen. Again, if you've got any questions, then feel free to type them. They will pop up on our end, and we'll hoover those up at the end. Got a few comments on here, but no questions. Just people saying they can hear and how amazing we are, things like that. Okay, so what's next? So let's have a look on here. So before the event, I think most of this you will have covered. The race entry form. If you haven't done the race entry form by now, it's too late. We've put everybody in order, and if you haven't given us a time, you haven't done the race entry form, like I say, you maybe ask some extra questions at registration, and you won't have a swim time, which will mean you'll probably start towards the back of the field. But that's the way that is now. So before the event, race briefing Q&A we're doing now on race day itself. Let's drop into here and see what this is on here. Yes, as we've already discussed, the car park address, Spring Lane. We've got 3 words if you're not sure about how to find your way to the car park itself. The Park Farm Estate itself, which is where we are. Our office is actually here as well. You can't come in here. As a racer, you can't come in here. So there's a driveway. So please try and make sure that you get the right entrance because it's going to cause havoc if there's lots of people coming the wrong way. And again, it's not Compton Verney Art Gallery and Museum. It's a different place. So sometimes people get a bit confused with that. But there is a little map in the guide, so you should be able to find your way to that. Parking, camping, we've already covered all that. Spectators, we love spectators. So as many spectators as you like can come along and cheer you on. I feel like you were going to say something.
No, just so, it really does help if we have lots of people cheering you on. It really makes a big difference for athletes. So if you have friends, family who want to come along, then get them to bring their pom-poms and their cowbells and their fancy dress if they want to. But just if you can make athletes smile as they're racing, it makes it a lot easier for them. So the more the merrier.
Okay, and for the spectators particularly, but also for you racers when you've finished, or maybe beforehand as well, we've got cakes, T&B Cakes, who are going to be selling some nice treats on site, tea and coffee and that kind of thing. We've got Annie's Ice Creams for afterwards, a nice treat for when you finish there. We've got West Midlands Wetsuit Hire, who sells all sorts of stuff. So if you forget your goggles or you've forgotten your, your race belt or something like that, then Ahmed's going to be there from West Midlands Wetsuit Hire, with his little stall there to sell you your last minute essentials.
We've got Forest Coffee House as well.
Forest Coffee House. There's going to be, I think they're going to be doing savouries and tea and proper coffee as well. And also Lewis is going to be there from Bike Fixers. So if you do have any last minute panics and your bike is not in the condition you want it to be in, then Lewis is going to be there to hopefully get you out a bit of a hole. He should be there, or he'll be there in the morning. And he's also going to be out roving on course as well. So if you do get a mechanical on course, and in fact, I might as well talk about this now. If you do get a mechanical on course and it's not something that you can fix, the best thing to do is to ask one of the other competitors to mention to the next marshal that you've stopped. Okay, and then the marshal can get hold of Lewis, and then Lewis can come and find you. And that's the kind of the way that works. All right, so unless you happen to stop near a marshal, then try and pass a message and ask them to tell the next marshal they see that you've stopped. Hope that makes sense. And they'll come and Lewis will come and do what he can to try and get you going again. Registration we've already covered. Transition, let's just see what's in here. I think we've covered most things in here. Yeah, there's a little map in there in terms of transition. It's the same as last year, if anyone raced last year. So we've got a little entrance point at the side of transition. We covered this, haven't we? But a little entrance point at the side of transition. There's a defined sprint area and middle distance area. So you need to find to that particular place. And then we've got one entrance at the end of transition, which is swim in and bike in.
Can I just mention with that, where it shows swimming and biking on that map, it's actually central at the bottom of the transition area. It's not to the right on the just in the middle distance side. It's central, so everybody should have an equal distance to run from swimming and biking to the run out or bike out.
Okay, and there we go. It says before you enter transition, make sure to rack your bike. You must have your number stickers attached to your bike and your helmet on and fastened, as Corinne mentioned earlier. Bar plugs on the end of your handlebars, and make sure your brakes working, which is what we've covered. Already. I don't think there's anything else there that we need to cover. If you are a relay team member, we've got a few relay teams in both events. Then effectively the handover happens at the bike. Handover happens at the bike, and effectively what you're doing is you're swapping the timing chip from one person to the next, which is what acts as your baton effectively. So if you are on the bike leg, you wait for your swimmer to enter transition. You'll be waiting by the bike. You pass over the timing chip, and then the cyclist can leave transition at that point.
In terms of that handover, the rules are that you have to change the timing chip onto the cyclist before the cyclist puts the helmet on and touches their bike. So you can't be there with your helmet on and your bike off the rack and then wait for somebody to put the chip on. The chip needs to be transferred before you touch your bike or your helmet. And equally, when you come back into transition, you need to rack your bike, take your helmet off, and then transfer the chip onto the runner.
Okay, good. The Harbour 14 on YouTube. Thank you for your question. You said cash or card for the concessions. Either. So I think certainly I know. Well, I'm pretty sure that everyone will have the card machines. I know the people that we work with regularly have got card machines, so it should be absolutely fine with that. Right, marshals and race staff. Just a quick one. If you see the marshals out there, I know you're going to be fairly tired at points during the event. Say hello to them. They'll be saying hello to you and cheering you on. But the vast majority of the staff out on course are volunteers, and they're giving their time for free to try and help you. So just give them a little smile and say thank you if you've got the breath in your body to do that, which I'm sure you will.
In terms of marshals at junctions on the bike particularly, but also on the run actually, they can't tell you when it's clear for you to cross the road. So if it's a right turn or a straight across at a crossroads, they can't say the traffic is clear. And part of the reason for that is it's not always easy to tell the difference between somebody shouting car and somebody shouting clear. It's your responsibility to decide whether it's safe for you to cross. So don't expect them to be directing you. They're not allowed to.
Okay, so we're going to look at the course now. We're going to start off with the sprint course. So you guys are starting off with a 400-meter swim. You're going to be queuing up down by the lake, which is directly in front of the marquee. So it's going to be nice and clear where you need to go. And you guys are going to doing this the wrong way around, really, because the sprint is second race off. But anyway, it's the way it is in the guide. So you're going to be starting at 8:30. So I suggest that you make your way down there in good time, start queuing up. You will be going in roughly speed order. And we will be publishing the approximate start times. Effectively, we'll be lining up in race number order. And again, like Corinne said earlier, we're writing the numbers on the back of your hands. So very roughly, we want you to line up in numerical order to start. And that should be roughly swim time order. Now, if you do have friends that you want to be alongside, then we don't mind a certain amount of shuffling about, but we will be kind of keeping an eye on things because otherwise we have not so speedies with the speedies and the speedies with the not so speedies, and it becomes a bit chaotic. So we do try and keep things in order, but if there's the odd person who wants to swap around, move down the queue a little bit, it's not too bad.
As Dave said, we'll publish the approximate race start times, but there's not that many people, so you need to basically go down ready to start for 7 o'clock or 8:30 for the sprint. and your start time is as you enter the water. So hence it doesn't make a massive difference if you're slightly out of order, because the start time is from when you cross the mat, not from the published start time.
Okay, so the water temperature will be taken on the morning of the race. Like it says in the guide, we expect it to be around about 2021. We run an open water venue across the road at Park Farm Art Gallery. And
Compton Verney Art Gallery.
Compton Verney Art Gallery. And the water temperature was just below 20. Was it yesterday?
Last night, yeah.
It seems like last week.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a little bit warmer over the next couple of days, so it might go up to 21, 22, maybe 23, because the lakes do change temperature quite quickly here, but we can't imagine it's going to be much warmer than that. But either way, it's going to be wetsuit optional, so you can choose whether or not you wear your suit.
Unless it's over 25 degrees. If it's we do have a wetsuit exemption, which allows us to make wetsuits optional up to a higher temperature, but over 25, you cannot wear a wetsuit at all. So I think it's highly unlikely that the lake will get to 25, though.
No.
And if it did, you wouldn't want to be in a wetsuit.
Okay, so you'll be queuing up and going into the water. You'll effectively be fed in. There'll be staff feeding you in, so it's not a mass start. You'll be going in every few seconds, so you should be able to settle into your swim without too much hustle and bustle. Hopefully, you're going to be swimming one lap of the course, so you'll be going into the water and then turning left at the first buoy. And then you'll be following the buoys round. We will give you a briefing about the specifics of the buoys just before you get in. So you'll be getting a specific swim start briefing before you start the swim, if that makes sense. So once we know exactly which buoys are going to be positioned where, we've got a number of buoys. We'll tell you exactly which buoys are going to be where. But it's going to be nice and clear for you either way.
In terms of safety, we've got safety boat on the water, kayakers on the water, and lifeguard and spotters on the bank and everything. So plenty of people there keeping an eye on you. If you need any help for any reason during the swim, standard procedure, roll onto your back and put your arm in the air and someone will come over to you.
Okay. You're not allowed any safety aids or anything like that. We do get requests sometimes in terms of tow floats and armbands, that kind of thing. So you're not allowed anything like that, just in case you're wondering. All right. So when you finish the swim, you'll be directed up onto the bank and out. There'll be people helping you out of the water, and you'll run up a little grassy bank. It's going to be carpeted, and then you'll make a right turn and you'll run across the field towards transition. Now it's about, how far is it? 200 meters. 200, yeah, it's about 200 meters. Do you think it's longer than that? I think you hesitate.
I can't remember.
It's a fairly long swim across the grass. Run across the grass to transition, and you're going to be entering transition through the bottom of the transition as soon as you approach it, as we've already mentioned before. As a sprinter, you'll be turning on, heading over to the left-hand side of transition and finding your way to the bike. Getting your bike, so you're going to be taking your wetsuit off and obviously putting your bike gear on and picking up your bike and heading out of transition. It should be nice and clear which way you need to go. You're going to be going to the left-hand side and round the back of the fence to the bike out, but it's as it is in the athlete guide if you want to have a look at that.
Again, remember you need to put your helmet on before you touch your bike.
Yeah. I feel like we've forgotten something.
I'm sure somebody.
Yeah, if we've forgotten anything obvious, then let us know. Hopefully, is the camera still on? Is the camera still on? The screen's gone off. If the camera's still on, let me know. I've got a black display looking at me, but hopefully you can still see it's on that screen. So, okay, no, we're okay. Right, so onto the bike course. The bike course is clearly marked. We've got bright green signs with black arrows. There's a few other different types of sign out there as well. We've added to the signs each year because one of our dreads is for people to go missing on the course. So we've got about 2,000 signs out there this year, haven't we? So you should be okay. And there's also marshals and volunteers and all sorts of staff out there pointing you in the right direction. We obviously do have two courses. So we've got the sprint and the middle distance course. So make sure you follow the right course. The most important thing is when you get to Kyneton, so you come out of Compton Verney, you turn right over the hill into Kyneton. There's a couple of speed bumps on the way down the hill into Kyneton, but it shouldn't be too bad. And then when you hit the T-junction in the centre of Kyneton, you guys want to be turning right.
I can't see the... there we go.
Yeah, we want to... Yeah, there we go. You want to be turning right. Pink is sprint. We've tried to make it as obvious as possible because some people go the opposite way to what we ask. You're going to be turning right and heading towards Edge Hill. Okay? Yeah? Is that clear?
You're not going up Edge Hill.
I hope that's clear. I don't know how we can make it any more clear. All right, so turn right, follow the... that's the only sign that's pink. All the rest of them are green with the black arrow. You're going to be heading out towards Edge Hill. Like Corin says, you're not going up Edge Hill, so don't panic about that. When you're about, I don't know, quarter of a mile away from Edge Hill, you turn left onto Perimeter Road, and then you cycle. It's a nice flat section along there, isn't it? Mm-hmm. There's not a huge amount of marshals out on your course, actually, because it's pretty straightforward.
There should be one on that
corner. Yeah. You go all the way along to Perimeter Road to the Banbury Road. Is the Banbury Road there? I'm not sure the road name. It's the main road between Gaydon and Banbury, anyway. Turn left, and then you're going to go all the way back to Gaydon, the Gaydon roundabout. You're going to turn left again, all the way back to Kyneton. And when you enter Kyneton, you follow the signs. You go over the first, in fact, there's two roundabouts now, over the first roundabout, over the second roundabout, and then there's a 90-degree bend to the left. Now, there are signs, and there should be a marshal there as well. Follow the road round to the left. And the reason I say that is because the middle distance route turns right at that point. Okay, so don't turn right, otherwise you'll be doing another 56 miles, and you don't want to do that.
It is coming from the other direction. It goes that way, but still just keep following the road round to the left. The only right turns that you have on the sprint course are where that big sign is that I just showed you right at the start, or not right at the start, once you first get into Kyneton, and then you turn back right on that same road back to Park Farm. Those are the only right turns that you have on your route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Anything else about the bike course? We've been out, we've checked the course. There were some lumps and bumps around the place, but we understand the council have been out and hopefully have filled a few of them. We will be checking it again before the actual race start, and if there are any major problems out there, then we will be clearly marking them. But I don't think there's any major kind of issues out there.
The only real thing to note on the sprint course is when you come into Kyneton, so you go out to Park Farm, you go over the hill, as Dave mentioned, then you come downhill into Kyneton. Now, when you get to the bottom of the hill, so you might be going fairly fast coming down that hill, there are speed bumps at the bottom. So don't overcook it coming down that hill, because the road gets a little bit rougher at the bottom and there's some speed humps there. So just take care as you come down that hill. But the rest of the route is pretty good.
Yeah.
There's a question about is the bike element 21k or 23.5? The race guide and entry said 21, but I noticed the Strava map says it's 23.5. I thought it was 21.
Yeah, I thought it was 21 as well. This is 23.5 as well. We shall double check that. We should know that.
Yeah.
You've caught us out a little bit there.
We'll have a look at that. Miles, so I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that and let you know. Well, it'll be whatever's on Strava, won't it? Because that's the course. So we will double check that. That's not something we've picked up actually. We've never questioned it because it's always been as we thought it was. So anyway, we'll have a look at that.
There's also another question. Read swim. Do we need to wear a swimming cap? Yes, you do need to wear a swimming cap. You need to wear the one that we give you at registration. Okay, so it must be either for the sprint race, it must be the pink swimming cap. You can wear your own swim cap underneath if you want to wear two hats. That's fine, but you have to wear our pink swim hat on top. Okay.
Any more questions at this point?
Nope.
Okay. Please be, obviously, it goes without saying, be sensible on the roads. There are rural roads. There are horses out there occasionally. We do mention to all the stables that the race is on. So, hopefully there won't be too many riders out there, but you never know. Even though you're in a race, you do still need to slow down and ride wide and be very careful around the horses if you could, please.
Please don't do any noisy braking or noisy gear changes around the horses, because those are the sort of things that they're not used to and might spook them. And the last thing you want is a spooked horse in front of you on the road. It can be very dangerous. So please take extra care if you see horses out there.
I've got a question here from Vanessa just come into Kyneton. There's lots of cars parked on the road. Will this be the case on race day, or will the road be clear of parked cars? I'd love to say we could clear the whole course for you, Vanessa, but that's not going to be the case, unfortunately. Hopefully at that time on a Sunday morning, it should be fairly quiet, but there are parked cars very often on the left-hand side through Kyneton. You just have to take it steady. You have to be careful.
They're residents' cars, so that's the only parking that they have.
Okay, so you're going to ride the course. Obviously, you come back into T2 and you need to rack your bike before you take your helmet off and then get yourself ready for your run. And again, the run is nice and clearly marked. So you're going to be running directly out. Where are we? Just going to get my bearings on the map. Yeah, you're going to be running out directly back almost towards where the swim start was, and then out through the woods and out of Park Farm and into Combrook and onto the run course itself. It's an undulating course with a few lumps and bumps around the place. There are some good there's a nice little climb in Combrook, which I'm sure you'll enjoy particularly. It's mixed terrain, so there's tarmac, there's some tracks. You're going through the woods, you're going across a field, you're going through the meadow. The question we get asked all the time is whether or not it is like a trail. You need to wear trail shoes. Now, we walked part of the course the other day, didn't we? And I would run it in road shoes if it was myself. It'd been raining, but it was still okay. The ground was okay. And it's going to be hot the next couple of days. So I'd imagine the ground's going to be quite hard by Sunday.
I don't think, whichever shoes you feel most comfortable in, I would wear them, because you're not going to be, unless we have torrential rain overnight the night before, I don't think you'll gain much by wearing trail shoes. Mm-hmm. But whichever you feel most comfortable in, if you have a choice.
Okay, so just in terms of the run course itself again, yes, you go out of Combrook up the hill, and there is a split at the top of the course where you turn left and you go through the woods. You do not go right, because that's the middle distance course. Again, there should be a marshal there, but you turn left into the woods. You run through the woods and then down the field, and at the bottom of the field, you hit the road there again. So just be careful crossing the road. It is a main road. There will be marshals there, but again, please don't take any risks at that point. You then cross the road and you effectively go into the entrance of Compton Verney Museum and Art Gallery, and you follow the path out the right-hand side onto the meadow behind Compton Verney.
You don't go into the main car park of Compton Verney. You kind of bear right before you get to the car park and up into the meadow. Yeah.
And it is well signposted, so you shouldn't have any problems there. You run across the meadow, turn left, you go through a little brook, over the little brook, and you pop out on the other side and then follow the track back. When you loop back round, you're coming back across the road again, so same kind of situation as before. Be careful on the road. Again, there will be staff there, but again, just don't take any risks there. You then run around the edge of the sheep field, and we believe there will be sheep in there. So we should have someone opening the gate for you and letting you through, but you run around the perimeter of the sheep field and then back through the woods, the other woods, and then down the hill to the finish, and get your medal.
The finish line will be down near the marquee again. So it's if you did the race last year, you finished a little bit further up the hill. And this year you'll be coming straight down and finishing near the marquee.
Okay. If you guys got any questions about the sprint course, then let us know, because we're going to move on to the middle distance course. And if you're a sprinter, it's worth just hanging on, just kind of bearing with us while we go through this, because there will be some of the bits and bobs that we go through towards the end of this. How long are we on at the moment? 33 minutes. We're doing all right. We're doing okay. It took about 3.5 hours last time we did this, so we're trying to do it a bit more quickly. Again, if you've got any questions, anyone that's kind of new, I can see there's quite a few people watching, then again, just type them into YouTube and it will pop up on our screen so we can see what's happening on our end. Right, so middle distance. You guys start at 7 o'clock and you guys are going to be doing 2 loops of the swim course. Yeah, I mean, it's a long, narrow lake. Again, we'll give you a swim briefing before you start, so you know exactly which boys you're going to be looking for. We've got some new huge boys. They're kind of old Super League boys we've acquired, and we got those because it is a long, narrow lake, and it's quite nice to be able to see right the way to the end. So you'll be looking out for those, but we'll give you a full briefing in terms of boy positioning on the morning of the race, because sometimes things can change a little bit last minute in terms of putting the boys out.
As with the sprint race, the only boys that you have on your left are the first and the last boy, and those will be different from all the others. All the other boys you keep on your right. So you'll be swimming in a clockwise direction. And as Dave said, you'll be doing 2 loops.
Yep.
And it's not, you don't get out between the loops. You just carry straight on in the water. So there's no Australian exit type thing.
Yeah, yeah. And similarly to the sprint, obviously you're getting out the same place, you run into transition. Your transition is on the right-hand side of the transition area. Your middle distance area is on the right-hand side of transition. So straight into the right-hand side, same as before, wetsuit off, helmet on before you touch your bike, and then out onto the bike course. Right, so bike course, same signs. Does any of the bike course, Matt, is any of the bike course overlap? They're pretty much, both the signs are the same for both courses. So the reason I say that is don't worry about getting confused about which sign is for you. The only point that there might be confusion is the point where we've got you splitting into left and right. As soon as you go left onto the middle distance course, then all the signs are for you. So don't panic about worrying about following the wrong signs. As long as you get that one right, you're going to be good. So you're going to be hitting Kyneton, turning left at that sign, and then heading out onto the 56-mile bike course. In terms of a general overview of the bike course, it's rolling. It's beautiful for a start, isn't it? It's a very nice bike course. It's got a few lumps and bumps in it, and we're really pleased when we put the course together, because I think it's a really nice, fun course. It's beautiful. It's got something for everybody. It's got some climbs in it. It's got some descents in it. It's got some nice flat sections in it. So it's a real mixed bag, and in a positive sense, if that makes sense. We've been out, and again, we've tested the course and tested the course. We haven't really tested the course, have we? Have you tested the course? We've ridden it in the past, but not.
We've ridden it one. We have ridden it this year.
Yeah. Okay.
You might not. We have.
Anyway, we've been out and we've had a look at it. Again, the road surfaces are okay. They're okay. Some of the patches we've notified the council, and we're going to be double checking those to make sure that
I think they've been done. Yeah, I've had some notifications to say that they've been done.
Yeah. And again, if there are any things we're concerned about, then we'll clearly mark them.
The only one area on the middle distance course that we will draw your attention to is there's one section that is potentially being resurfaced this week. So it will be open for the race, but we don't know at this stage whether it's going to be freshly surfaced, in which case we will have a marshal at the top and warning you that if there's fresh gravel on that stretch. It's only a very short stretch, but at the moment we can't find out whether they will have already, because the work is going over this week and next week, so we don't know at this stage whether they're going to freshly surface that by the weekend.
Okay, so the bike course itself, it's obviously very rural, same as a sprint course. Just be careful of horses and early morning Sunday traffic. There are a couple of main road sections, not much, but for example, when you come out of Lighthorn, you turn left onto the main road there. There is a foot down. It's foot down, isn't it?
It's not. It's a recommended foot down. Yeah. So it's not a sort of. So when you get to the, you come through Lighthorn, you drop down the hill into Lighthorn Bear, right up the hill, and then you find your way to a T-junction where you'll turn left, and there should be a marshal there. Yeah. In the first couple of years of the race, you went straight ahead, but that road is closed at the moment. So we now turn left, and we head down towards a roundabout. Now that roundabout, you take the fourth exit. Okay, so you'll be turning right, but it's the fourth exit. There will be a marshal there. But just make sure you know as you're approaching that you've got to go pretty much all the way around the roundabout at that one.
Yeah, and then when you go on from there, you go a couple of 100 meters over the motorway, and then you turn right just after the motorway, and that is a right turn across traffic. So you're going to have to be really careful at that point. So there should be a marshal at that point as well.
Marshal there as well.
Okay, so just be really careful at that point because that's on the Fossway, turning right across traffic, like I say. Then you're onto a really nice part of the section, the part of the course there where it goes up through Chesterton, past the windmill. You turn right, head down towards Bishop's Ditchington, and then onto the rest of the course. A little bit later on, you come to the back of Burton Dasset. So it's a nice climb at the back of Burton Dasset and through Farnborough. And then you start heading over towards Edge Hill, which is particularly pleasurable. So I'm hoping most of you have been out and have tested the course and have ridden the course, so you'll know where Edge Hill is. Edge Hill is quite a famous climb in the area. It's not too long. It takes me about 2 minutes to get up there. That doesn't. It takes
about 10 years
about
ago.
10. yeah. It's not too bad. It's for most people it'll be kind of 3 to 6 minutes to climb the hill or thereabouts. There's an aid station at the top, which would be nice to be able to have a little breather at the top of the aid station. That's what I think about it. Actually, the aid station is on the left-hand side. It's in a little lay-by. It is obviously still a live road, so if you just want to pull over to the side and just try not to take up too much of the road while you're getting whatever bits and bobs you need from the aid station. We'll talk about aid station and nutrition in a second as well. You then go all the way across the top of the Edge Hill escarpment, and there's a nice descent down Winyates Hill, which is a really nice kind of descent down there. You have some fun going down there. Halfway down the descent, there is quite a sharp 90 degree bend. You're going quite fast at that point. Just be careful there. So that's kind of it's 2/3 of the way down Winyates Hill.
There are signs warning you when that's coming up.
Yeah. There's not many marshals at the bottom end of the course, the furthest part away from the race HQ and where you started. So just be careful to follow the signs. There are lots of signs out there, but there's, just so as you know, there's not a huge amount of marshals out there. So don't get worried if you haven't seen a marshal for a while. There will be plenty of signs. You then head your way back towards Tysoe and Ox Hill, and then Tysoe. And then you loop back round through Radway, around the back of the Kyneton military base, perimeter road.
Out, going to Honington. Yeah, from the bottom of Winyates Hill, you go out to Honington and then towards Shipston.
I'm trying to keep it down to less than an hour.
Okay, down to Tysoe, back to.
So we go to Honington as well. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then round the back of you've got me all knocked now. I don't know where I am. Out towards Gaydon and then back. Now that part is the sprint course. It's kind of part of the sprint bike course, but that shouldn't make any difference to you guys. And then you head back into Kyneton and then back. That's the bike course. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you get back into transition, we forgot to mention this on the sprint one. You must rack your bike in the same position that you took it from. We had a few people last year who just put their bike anywhere. You have to rack your bike back on your number, otherwise you're obstructing other competitors and you can get penalised for that.
Yep.
So make sure you put your bike exactly as it was when you took it out.
And we've also mentioned that British Triathlon officials are in transition, not to scare you too much, but they do keep an eye on what you're doing because we do have to obviously run the event in accordance with British Triathlon rules and regulations and things. So please try and stick to the rules if you can. Right, so onto the run course. Really, really nice run course. You're doing 2 glorious laps of the run course. And again, similar to the sprint, it's hilly, but you'll go much further. So
that doesn't make it better.
No, it makes it. You got more time in the beauty of the course, haven't you? So same thing as the sprint. So out towards Combrook Village, up the hill. You get to do it twice, which is nice. Out of Combrook, then across the top to Lodge Farm, down the Lighthorn Road. There's a little triangle at the top over towards off the Lighthorn Road. There are there confusing areas? I guess you run around a triangle part at the top of the course there. It will be signed and there will be marshals. You run towards the Fossway junction, then you got a sharp left where you're coming back on yourself.
Before you get to the Foss.
Before you get to the Fossway. And they mentioned that because the Fossway is not a very nice road. So you stay well clear of it, but just it will be nice and clearly marked. It's the furthest part on the course, really. Then you start heading back in. You come back down the hill, away from the kind of the Fossway area we just talked about, and you turn right onto a bridle way, and then head. It's a lovely view as you run up the bridle way. You'll see Compton Verney Art Gallery and the lake down on your left-hand side, and then you will reach the. Have I missed an aid station out?
Yeah, there's an aid station out of Conbrook.
There's an aid station out of Conbrook as well, but you'll meet a second aid station just as you coming up the track on the farm there. You then cross the main road. So again, as I said with the sprinters, just be careful crossing the main road because it is a live road. There will be staff there to help you across. Round the sheep field on the other side of the road, and then back down into Park Farm where the start-finish area is. And then you get to do it all again, which is particularly nice. Is there anything else? In terms of the terrain, again, more of your route is on road surface or tarmac compared to the you're running further for a start, aren't you? But there's more time on the road for you guys, and I would certainly be erring more towards road shoes. But again, it is very much mixed terrain if you look at it in its entirety.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, so
I've got a few questions come in.
okay, should we cover those? Where have we got to? Post right. Okay, right. What questions have we got then? Will you email out start times? We probably won't email them out. If you check just before, what day are we now? Where are we now? Wednesday. If you check on, I'm probably going to do them tomorrow morning at some point. So if you check tomorrow or on Friday, I lose track of the days, on Friday or on Saturday, at the bottom of the athlete guide, there are some documents, and you've probably seen the kind of the one of the initial race entry lists. There'll be an updated race entry list there with the start times. So we don't want to keep on sending out hundreds of emails each time. So it'll be there. So if you check back, it will be there at some point.
The because we're sort of filtering in every 10 seconds or so, it's not going to be sort of like some people are starting at 7, some people are starting at 8. If you're middle distance, you'll be starting within 15, 20 minutes of the main start time. So just get yourself ready for 7 o'clock, and then we'll just get everybody in race order. But Dave will produce the start list beforehand.
Yep. Can you use mobile phones to navigate on the cycle route? I'm not sure what the rules are in terms of navigating with phones. It always used to be no phones and no cameras. We'll have to double check that. Are you aware of that?
I'm not sure whether you're allowed to use mobile phones.
Yeah, it may have changed. I think we'll check that, Mike, and we will let you know. Should we make a note of that, and then we'll and there's also double checking the length of the sprint bike course. Yeah. From Harbour 14, the same black arrows on the green background for the run course. Yeah, the same ones. So it should be pretty straightforward to follow those. Right, in terms of post-bike collection, as soon as you finish your race, you can go and get your bike. So take your race number so they can have a look at that, and they will let you back into transition. You're only the only one that's allowed in transition, and please be aware that there may be other people still racing. So please, have some awareness about other people around you, and try not to obstruct any racers who are in transition. Is there anything else about that we think? Anything else that you can think about?
No, I don't think so.
Rules. I'm not going to go through the rules and regulations of British Triathlon. It's your responsibility to know what the rules are for the racing, but just to kind of
illegal equipment
it's worth having a look at this page. You should be aware of the rules of triathlon anyway if you're entering a triathlon. And again, ours is a British Triathlon permitted event, so we do have staff there, British Triathlon staff there, keeping an eye on it. But it's obvious things. No littering. You can get disqualified for littering. Be courteous to other racers. Know the course. It's amazing how many people don't know the course, but try and do your best to have a good old look at the course in the race guide. Obviously, we've been through it today, and drive it if you can beforehand. Maybe if you've got time to cycle it, then do that. It's always worth doing that as well. Illegal equipment. It's a bit small. I can't read that.
Yeah, mobile phones is on there, so you can't use mobile phones for navigation.
Yeah. Drafting is a big one. So if you don't know what drafting is, it means that you can't sit right behind people and get what they call the draft, which makes it easier for you to ride if you're really close behind. So try and make sure that you keep a 10 metre gap.
10 metres for the sprint, 12 metres for middle distance. If you want to overtake, of course, you can enter that drafting zone, but you only have a short time to make the pass, and you can't sort of ride up to the back of the bike in front and then drop back and ride up and drop back. Once you've decided to go into that draft zone, you have to make the pass and go past them. If somebody overtakes you, it's your responsibility to then drop back out of their draft zone. You can't sit on their wheel. Yeah.
And it can get a little. You might feel like it's a little bit complicated, and on the surface, I guess it can be a little bit. But have a look in the athlete guide there, because the official British Triathlon document is there. But if you're in any doubt, just make sure you've got a few car lengths gap between you and the cyclist in front. We do have bike marshals out on course, and they will. It's ultimately you get a penalty and you can get disqualified for drafting. So just try and be careful with that, because you don't want to spoil anyone's day with that. What else have we got on here? Race day contacts. Don't need to go through that. Withdrawals. If you don't turn up, you don't turn up on race day. If you withdraw during the race, then please let us know. So if for some reason you get halfway around the bike course and you have an issue and you decide to go home from that point, you've got to try and find a marshal or some way of letting us know. Our contact details are in the athlete guide. So, otherwise we'll be sending out search parties looking for you. So please try and do that if you can. Also, we need the chip back as well, because the chips are like £50 each or something. And the chip company will be after you. So please make sure you bring those back. Withdrawing from the race, timing and results. So we have got race timing solutions on course. Obviously, you're going to be wearing a chip. We've got timing mats. Timing mats at the start of the swim, timing mat at the end of the swim, timing mat at the start of transition, timing mat at the end of transition, and obviously on the bike course as well, and obviously at the finishing line as well. So we'll get loads of nice splits. So and race timing solutions will obviously be on site, and we're hoping to get our big results screen going in the marquee, so that you will hopefully be able to get some nice speedy results when you cross the finishing line. I say hope because technology always has a habit of failing, but hopefully that will be working for you on race day. Prize ceremony is at 2 o'clock, I think. 2 o'clock? Yeah, 2 o'clock. We've got a lovely little jetty that the prizes are given on, so hopefully you'll be up for winning one of those. We've got some lovely trophies for you this year, so hopefully you guys will be up for racing and picking up one of those. We have lots of age group categories, so first, second and third overall, male and female for both races, and then first in the relay, and then first in each age group, and they're 10-year age group blocks. So senior is up to 40, and then there's 10-year age group blocks up to 60, and then it's 60 and above. Does that summarise it? Is that understandable what I just said? I don't know. What else have we got? Medical. There's going to be medical staff on site. So if you've got any issues, please either grab hold of one of the medical staff directly, or let us know, or if you're out on the course, let a marshal know, or someone to pass a message on to a marshal. And if you need any medical assistance, we will come and help you. Mechanical support we've already spoken about. So Lewis from Bike Fixers will be out there on race day. Photographs, we've got lots and lots of photographers out there. So we've got some official photographers for race photos. So they are available for purchase on Charles Whitten's website. The URL is in the athlete guide. We've also got some people taking video footage and a drone and bits and bobs like that for some race videos that we're going to be putting together afterwards. So if you see those, look very happy when you get videoed. Is that it? We've got more questions? Any way of spectators monitoring your progress online during the race? Yeah, so we've published, it should be in the athlete guide actually, the link to the race results. So that as far as I understand it, that should be a live document, and it should a live page. So they should, if once you come out the swim should appear. Once you finish the bike should appear. There's no actual kind of tracking out on the bike. There's a split at the beginning of the bike and at the end of the bike for the middle distance, for example. There's nothing in the between. So they won't know where you are within the bike course, but they'll know which element of the race you're on, if that makes sense. The run course, of course, the run course for the middle distance is 2 laps. So they'll be able to see you going through a couple of times. But apart from that, they'll have to keep an eye on the link. So if you give them the link that's in the athlete guide, they should be able to keep an eye on you. Have I gone backwards? I've gone backwards a little bit, haven't I? Prizes, mechanical support, photographs. Come back next year, of course. And I think that's it from that. Rachel, my registration went pear-shaped. We'll be starting at the back. Or have you got my form with predicted swim time? Rachel, if you send me a message with your swim time, I'm opening the floodgates asking for this, aren't I? I will do what I can to get you a swim time in there. So if you drop me a message, I can't check right now, obviously, but drop me a message. You might be quite happy to put it on the screen. I don't know, and I'll see what I can do to make sure you've got a proper swim time in there. I feel like we've got loads of other things to say, but we've come to the end. If you guys, I don't know how many are watching. 2,000 are watching. No, I'm joking. There's quite a few watching. So if you've got any questions, then fire them onto the screen now, and we will try and hoover those up before we go. But I think we've covered most things.
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like we rushed it, but we rushed it intentionally, haven't we? We do have a habit of waffling.
They probably don't feel like it was...
No, how long was that? 56 minutes.
Wow, yeah, that's enough, I think.
Okay, all right, that'll do. Okay, so... I hope you found that useful. If you've got any more questions, just fire them over in the meantime. We'll be happy hoover those up for you. And obviously registration the day before and on the morning of the race, there'll be staff around. And, that's it. Have a great day. And we shall see you hopefully on a glorious sunny Sunday.
But not too hot Sunday.
I want it really hot.
I'm sure they won't want it really hot. About 21, 22, I'm hoping for.
Yeah, it always rains on race day, doesn't it, for us?
No, it doesn't.
All right, thanks, guys. I shall see you on Sunday or Saturday, and take care. I'll see you out there.
See you there.